Proceed with the countdown.
10,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2,
1,
0.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression.
The truth ain't like puppies, a bunch of them running around. You pick your favorite. One truth.
Doesn't this blend of blindness and blandness want to make you do something crazy?
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Boy, do I have a surprise for you.
Welcome to Talk Hard!
Greetings and salutation, interwebs. Here we are at another edition of Talk Hard with Stone Loki and Ironcaster. Having a great time. We appreciate you joining us and hanging out with us tonight. All right, Loki, my friend, how are you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Pops?
We're getting to it, man. Let's get to it. Let's do some stuff, do some damage, and talk about some crazy stuff. Ironcaster, my brother, what's going on?
We might have lost Ironcaster.
Oh, well, he'll be all right. He's bouncing around over there. Something's going on. So, all right.
Got my phone,
All right.
or my everything like fell apart on me. I don't know what happened.
All right. We were kicking off Talk Hard, knock the stuff, knock the equipment down. Chris Persia's here early. Let's get to it. He says, so what we did last week, which was the way he likes it, so he gets it. Okay. All right.
I don't like it any more than you do.
Any more than you do. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Ironcaster, Iron Crawler, because he threw up a Nightcrawler image there. Yeah, we're still waiting for him to bamf back into the panel, and he did. So here he is. So, yeah, Culture Casino dropped a great video, and I know we talked a little bit offline. And Loki, you did some stuff I thought with Adega about Disney and some stuff going on with the law, and I really want to kind of dive a little deeper into our life experiences and stuff like that with this entire thing. So let me start with Culture just real quick. It'll kind of get us started here, and I'll have to go back and add the link for this video after the fact, because I did put it in here. There we go, and then we'll get it going here for 1 second once it pops over. I think Culture he's not going to get as much credit as he may deserve for this, though. Can you guys hear it?
It doesn't seem to matter where you look for information on this particular subject. There are plenty of trusted sources out there for information like this, such as Morning Consult, Pew Research, and Gallup, just to name a few.
So right off the bat, I was just impressed. He does like such a professional thing here with just naming sources right off the bat, like literally right away. You giving him grief, he could just come right at you with those polls, with those surveys and data, and I thought that was great. But he just kind of really quickly gets into
and of course this is exposing the complete gutting of all trust in all media, not just here in the United States but around the world. This slide has been ongoing for quite some time, and it's driven by a variety of factors. Let's first start with how the media landscape has changed over the last several years.
So let's just start with the first part I want to get to real quick was like your thoughts on like how you even, obviously, I mean, obviously I agree. I don't trust any of the media anymore, but I've lost trust a long time ago because I've worked closely with these people. Loki, where are you at on like a trust factor? Like, is there anyone, or where are the things that you can go to and say, well, this is a source I can trust, this is a source, or is it that you pull in multiple sources? How do you kind of like analyze information these days?
Always pulling multiple sources. If I don't do that, it's I will be referencing something like an opinion piece. A lot of times I go to Bounding into Comics. That is one of the resources that I use heavily. But most of that is opinion pieces. Most of that is, well, this is my take on what Disney's doing, or what Star Wars is going through, or what Paramount's doing with Halo, like we've talked about. Usually, unless it's something serious, like what we were talking about the other night with the Dega, which was Disney and their employees who seem to have a problem with keeping their hands off of children, which is amazing that Disney would hire someone to work at a children's theme park that cannot keep their hands off children. Some of those people have had previous arrests and still get hired by Disney.
Yeah, and even admittedly so after their arrest. Like I said, that's actually why I went to go work for Disney. Gap Stargate and Claude, we see you hopping in here with us. Thank you so much. And feel free to add your comments and your thoughts on media. Who do you trust? Who do you trust? Money, money, money. Who do you trust? Ironcaster, how do you parse out data and sources that you trust?
I mean, one of the things I do is, much like Loki, I cast a wide net for news sources. I'll sometimes double down on different websites that will cover the similar subject matter. So, yes, Bounding into Comics, but I'll also turn to like Bleeding Fool. I'm actually looking at my list right now. I do use Kotaku for reference, but I usually wind up using some sort of RSS feed to then bypass and not even give them the ad clicks, just so I can at least get some essentially headlines.
Fair enough. Gab says he does some cross referencing here, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. Let me jump off of that then. Gab, is how do you what type of sources do we pull from? Like for me, I used to say this, and I can go back like literally like decades doing this. Is literally like I'm in the weeds in my area here. So for instance, whenever you guys remember Al Gore and the Al Jazeera stuff and things like that, I can tell you this about Al Jazeera. They were very, very honest in reporting as long as it didn't have to do with the Middle East. If they were going to report on something that had to do with the Americas, if it had to do with Russia, had to do with India, they were more than happy to air everybody else's dirty laundry. So you could trust them as an actual source. They would always check out. Russia, actually, RT, as much as it is a government propaganda arm, as long as they're not talking about anything in their side of the world, if they're bagging on, let's say, Europe or America, most of the time, it checks out pretty well. And it is actually, I give RT credit. A lot of times you can track down their sources. Like they're pretty good. Whereas compared to an American site like CNN and even Fox, it's hard to even parse out where they're getting stuff from if it's not like footnoted in any way, shape, or form.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the RT. I was actually going to mention them as a place to turn to where I would follow them on various social media platforms before the great unpersoning of them.
Yeah, no, again, here's the thing. You got to know what you're dealing with, right? So they're pro-Russia. So you're not going to get them actually doing any investigative reporting in the regime. You're not going to get anything honest about negatives in their society or culture. You're not going to get a fair shake if it comes to conflicts and those kinds of things. But if you're going to talk about, you see their headline lined up with, let's say, MSNBC and whatever, it's pretty easy to parse out where the facts lie and all of that. So. Loki, you mentioned really pop culture sites and that kind of thing. How do you sort of parse through like mainstream headline stuff? Or do you just kind of do like general scrolling and things like that? How do you go to trusted sites that you kind of do more of a dive deep on certain things?
Getting actual information that you can actually trust. There will be a lot of things that are said where it's like Ezra Miller loses WB role, but it'll have a question mark behind it. There's always little things you got to keep your eye out for facts. Warner Brothers has made no official statement on The Flash. But everyone is doing Ezra Miller won't be the Flash. Ezra Miller losing film jobs with Warner Brothers. But Warner Brothers has made absolutely no official statement on this. So you have to really be careful and really dig into what you're doing, unless you just want to be a rumor channel. And that's something that I've talked about before that I don't want to be. I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, well, blah, 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 and this happened. And, oh, well, this person says this might be happening. I don't want to be a rumor channel. I want to talk about facts, and I want to talk about opinions. An opinion is different than a rumor. If you're throwing out clickbait, that's the worst thing you can do, in my opinion. And people do it all the time. People do it every day.
Yes.
I'm sure you've seen it. Ezra Miller loses all work with Warner Brothers. Well, guess what? Warner Brothers has made no official statement yet. So you've got to be really clear to people, unless you want them just tuning out and walking away from you, to let them know, hey, we're going to be talking about Ezra Miller's job with Warner Brothers and whether or not he's lost it or he still has it, because right now we really don't know. Always double check your facts. Don't just go off of what anybody else is talking about. Always dig into a topic and make sure you know what you're talking about before you open your mouth and say something.
Chris does point out that they are literally in a catch-22. Whatever they do with the Flash and losing money. Yeah, I know. I understand. So, and Gapzone and hashtag facts matter. Different opinions. Yeah.
Yes.
We all agree with that. We all agree with that. So, Ironcast, Loki dropped like one of the buzzwords, right? So I wanted to get you, before I give you mine, I wanted your thoughts on like, what is your definition of like clickbait? How do you determine what would be considered clickbait or not clickbait?
Well, I think it ultimately comes down to, it's the headline. It's a big, flashy, like basically lit up in neon lights, sort of clickbait headline is going to be the thing that I would say is. Yes, I know I use the word clickbait in the definition there. I mean, another example of this are those recent rumors of, JD and the $301 million deal. It's like, I don't know about that. I have no doubt there are big plans for him, that every studio wants him right now. But
do you guys consider because clickbait's a tricky thing because it's almost like it gets defined well after the fact. But what about something that's just more like an inflammatory thumbnail or title? Like it may not be false. It's just like you're clearly just trying to go for clickbait. The best example of that would be the way people handled Kenobi and Reva. Many times they're not even making points to back up the thumbnail or the title. Like it was meant to be sort of like an eye getter. Or what's the fine line there for you guys on like how you kind of parse that out a little bit?
Go ahead, Ironcaster.
I suppose it depends what the subject matter you're trying to do. Because I mean, look,
True.
we've all seen the sorts of thumbnails where it's just like someone with their mouth wide open, like, as they're like, you'll never guess what I just opened in this pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's obvious clickbait thumbnail.
One of the thumbnails I did, the only season of STD I reviewed was season 3, and it was like a bet. I did that and somebody else had to do something. I forget what it was. But basically, one of the thumbnails I made was a picture with Michael Burnham with giant, big crying eyes that said, "I'm the bestest ever." Now, obviously, that's not true. She's not the bestest ever. But we're throwing that out there with the big cry eyes and the poor is me puppy dog face because I want to be the bestest ever. Shit like that. That's like almost like a comedy. It's like a comedy thumbnail.
It's a fine line into like satire and just mockery, right?
Yeah, there's a difference between mockery, satire, and someone actually putting she is the best Star Trek hero, save the galaxy, blah 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 blah. That's just all. Right. Yeah, that's right. all. That's all clickbait bullshit.
Right. All right, great, good stuff, guys. Let's go back to see where we can go here with a little bit more culture. We'll jump around a little bit.
A couple of decades because of digital delivery. By moving toward a business model that caters to this type of distribution, revenue is no longer driven by a subscription base, or I should say very little of it is driven by a subscription base. It's driven completely by ad revenue.
So literally live through this, guys. Literally live through this. Like, it was so strange to see and live through the way Google ads and Facebook ads to a certain extent, but really they were never lucrative for us. We never did it right. I don't know. I think you almost have to get to the level of a Daily Wire to even like have that work. Like you have to have, it's just the law of numbers gets well for you because Facebook is more like the networking thing. I've got to get it to someone's wall that's big enough to get it to that many more people. It's like that kind of thing. Google ads can actually drive traffic, but it's evolved so much in that these companies, when you go back to, let's say, Laydots in particular, they treated online stuff. I don't know if you guys remember back, like that era of like the NBC sites and, you know, mainstream CBS, even CNN to a certain extent, but really the other, like the network sites, they treated the internet stuff and internet content as like the redheaded stepchild. They didn't even care. Like you would go to those pages back then and it would be like, they had like 3 Google ads, which is the most you can have on a page. And then it evolved very quickly because their ratings are jumping off a freaking cliff. Like, did you guys notice, or did you have any experience with your, you know, having ads or seeing how that even works to drive traffic? Because for us, it was definitely a Rubik's Cube we were trying to race to kind of stay ahead of.
My brother was part of that. My brother was part of basically what my brother's company did. And he's retired now. He's out in Maui now. What he did for a living was making sure that whatever page you had, whatever you're doing, was at the top of that search list.
Right.
That's all his company did, was make sure that when you put something into that search bar, your company is at the top of that list.
Yep. And that's become increasingly difficult to get. What about you, Ironcaster?
I mean, it's really unfortunate the way these algorithms have completely just changed everything to where culture has changed around them. I mean, Tim Pool's gone on about how the Facebook algorithm rewarded like outrage for the longest time. Then that was what everyone just put out, videos to make people angry, and it was just all to feed an algorithm.
And I think that's kind of what Culture Casino is kind of getting at is, it was very clear for us as people that were just generating content, covering, it was, again, back to internet news, internet websites, definitely things like that.
Let me share something. Let me share something with you real quick.
We'll do that, and we'll get to Gap here. It says purists have to be consistent and deliver on their headlines in a factual-based manner that lets the audience decide to gain trust. Yes, and they have to be very careful with that, obviously, because they've got to maintain the trust. It's not just getting trust; it's maintaining the trust. Let's do this.
So at the top of that Google search bar, you see I put Stone_Loki.
Right.
That's IMDb. There's my Twitter. But if I put in Loki's Mornings of Mischief, it's going to have a whole different thing. Like all this is the very top of the page. And that's because I'm so active on the internet that Twitter and IMDb, they immediately notice me and pick it up. But if you go down one more, that's like Spartan, Stone, Loki, Pocket, Alter, Token on Etsy. Obviously, that has absolutely nothing to do with me. But if I put in Loki's Mornings of Mischief, I am going to pull up a whole different thing that most likely is going to have everything to do with the morning show. So, and this is your IMDb TV series. Yes, that is actually me. Stone Loki on Twitter, Loki's Mornings of Mischief on Instagram, Loki's Mornings of Mischief on Patreon, discover Loki's Mornings of Mischief popular videos on TikTok, YouTube Talk. So, I mean, it's all about how active you are and how much is going out into Google and the internet that defines where you're going to show up on the internet when someone looks you up on Google or another kind of search engine.
Right. Hey, Stephen Ransom, thanks for hopping in here with us. I tell you, it is really hard to rely. You guys, obviously, you're doing YouTube stuff. I still balance some internet stuff, and it is crazy trying to figure out the way they handle their algorithms with news, because you can hear in people's tones right now with terms like misinformation and disinformation and things like that. But I remember living through. And pardon me if I tell this story before, but I had this site, been around for years, and couldn't go to a movie screening. And the guy contacted me, and you know, long story short, he sent his wife because it was a Twilight movie or something, which I wouldn't have wanted to see anyway. But the wife went, so the wife writes this one review, and this story, I don't know if we hit it at the right time. I don't know if just the way we had it worded. Who knows? It took off like crazy, thousands and thousands of views, right? And it was our number one story within a few days. It stayed our number one, and it got traffic for literally like 3 years every day. It would always be in the top 10. And then one day, which we found out later was an algorithm update, it just went away. It was like, let's say 60, 80 views, and then it's been out for a couple of years, and then 0. and then after a day or two it'd be back, and then it would go away again, and then it'd come back, and it was like up and down, up and down. And later we learned of all these terms, like Google would call these changes, like they were named after animals, like penguin. If you guys remember these things, these terms were back in the day, penguin algorithm updates. And it was just the way they manipulate these information. So what Loki's saying with his screen, I check my screen. My screen is actually pretty similar to yours. When I put in Stone Loki with an underscore, it's pretty similar. I think the order might be a little bit different, but it's not radically different. But if we search a generic term, our 3 screens might be different, because it has the way it looks at cookies and stuff now. You almost have to always accept cookies to see things now. It's insane. You're giving the algorithm permission to take a log of what we do. Anyway, it's really fascinating to kind of look at this. And I think what culture was getting at, I think where I wanted to go with this too, was because this changes, it changes your motivation, right? Like, Loki, you've talked about this a lot on your thing, but I guess I'd love your thought. Like, if you did a video tomorrow, and let's say, I don't know, for whatever reason, you decided you're going to do something maybe a little bit out of the norm, and you did something, and let's say it was more like we were talking earlier, like an inflammatory thumbnail or title. Maybe it's not clickbait per se, like it's true, but it's something that was kind of like, okay. And let's say for some reason, it goes completely viral for you. Now you got like 30, 40,000 views in the first day. Like it just, boom, it just hits really big. Your subscribers are going crazy. The wheels are just turning like this, right? Wouldn't that incentivize you to make another similar video? Wouldn't that even it would incentivize you, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think
the problem after that is if the next video doesn't take off, and the video after that doesn't take off, and you're still doing it, that's what we call chasing the rabbit on YouTube.
Yep.
And that is, I have had a successful moment on YouTube, but I can't for the life of me replicate it no matter what the hell I do.
And I'm not even sure there's a way to know. I mean, I think there's a law of numbers that works in that favor. Like I think it staircases. I don't know about you guys if you think that. So let's say we use that example, right? So, 30, 40,000 moves you get X number of new subscribers, you do new content. But now let's say instead of your floor, let's say it was at this level, your new floor now moves up. But you keep chasing the rabbit, you've already got those customers. But by chasing the rabbit, you're not going to move the floor yet. So it's like it's a difficult balance with these kinds of things about being true to yourself and not chasing this. But I will be honest, man, especially when we were writing for Examiner, because the Examiner was a nice side hustle for us. We were all doing different titles and whatever. We're doing our own websites, because especially when we were trying to develop new sites, because I don't know about you if you guys knew this, but it takes months, if not a year, to really get going. Because you can get in Google News faster, but you're not really out there. You're just like a nobody. You don't even exist, right? So these things were like side hustles for us. Get a few $100s here, a few $100s there. Next thing you know, you were doing okay while you're trying to get this other website going, and it incentivizes. Clickbait's a newer term, because back then we wouldn't have said that, but yeah, it was clickbait. It really incentivized. It's like putting names in the title. I mean, the boys would tease me, because let's say I was doing a crime story. I would always stand by my crime story if the source was, if it was like a press, if I could trace it back to the authorities, and it would say, Florida man Bob Robertson arrested for X whatever. So I'd have the state, I'd have his name, I'd have all these different things in the headline. So it would pick up all these things. It was almost to the point of absurdity. Like literally you could do like a murder case that way. It literally was absurd, but it was chasing the rabbit, because every day you wake up broke. Every day it's like a sales job, because all you're doing is chasing the algorithm constantly.
Doesn't matter how good you did yesterday. How good can you be today?
Yeah, the algorithm, because there's going to be a staircase down with how the algorithm is treating the older stuff. In fact, the Google News algorithm, I don't know about the new one. I want to be careful here. It was before, and mostly as far as my experience with it, its expiration date's about 3 days. So once you get to the third day, the fall off at day 4 is like massive. Like it just says it only carries. They call them sitemaps, and the sitemaps only carry like a little over about 3 days. Now, it might have changed since then. I don't know. I don't look at our sitemaps and stuff. I don't even know what the latest is on that. But I can see sites like CNNs and Fox, because do you guys know, Loki, what is the percentage of like their online presence now versus their like terrestrial presence? Isn't there online? Most of these companies are at least 30, 40%.
Yes. Right
That's
around
a lot
30-40%.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And I'll tell you,
You got to
this,
think
guys.
this used to be all cable. It used to be all cable. It used to be all TV. It used to be all stations. It used to be all you could have Star Trek on Warner Brothers on in one city and have it on Fox in the other city. It could be so weird and different. And now you've got, because of syndication, now you've got everything going home, basically. Like what Paramount's doing with Star Trek. We were talking about that this morning, about the fact that Paramount's now saying we're not removing content, we're not changing content because we're not going to put up with this crap. But they're still coming out with 9 kinds of crap. They still came out with the worst video game adapted TV show of all fucking time that we all talked about. Sorry for my F-bomb pops. Halo. But they're signaling to us that they're not going to cave to these people and remove content, but they're not going to make new good content. Is that what I'm getting? For a streaming service that is failing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're doing. Go ahead, IronCaster, before I reply.
I think in part it's because you have a group of, you have essentially two sides, and one side is simply saying we don't want politics, versus another side is saying we want everything political, and the side that's saying we just don't want things political isn't even like getting their politics. There's an advantage to the one side if the studio then tries to meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
Ironcaster. Can I say something to Ironcaster real quick before it goes away? Unicron. Anyway, he's got Unicron going across this. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think part of what Loki, what you're saying, I was going to almost like, I wish I had like a call-in number this morning on your show, because it was like, I'm interested to see how Paramount handles it, because most of the stuff's already in the can, right? Like I think Neurotic, I've heard he made this case at least at some point or another. I think it was very accurate. He's like, we have at least 2 years of this stuff. This stuff's been, because the pandemic backed it all up. They were morons with their release schedule and how they're doing things. So you have stuff that was written X amount of years ago that's been in production or whatever. So the time for all of this garbage, all these turds to float away, and then newer content to bubble to the surface, I think we still got a lot more suffering to do. I'm not trying to excuse anything. I'm not even trying to say Paramount, Netflix, and others that are trying to say, yeah, we're not going to do this. I would say Paramount is at least trying to fire a shot over the bow to say, listen, we're not going to F with Tropic Thunder. It is what it is. Don't give me any more complaints. We don't want to hear about it. We're not changing it, right? That kind of stuff. Now, does that bode well for newer content? I think Top Gun Maverick does, but that means we might get good content for 2 or 3 more years until they can generate it. Like, it takes a while.
Yep. I mean, we just got Top Gun. We just got the Beavis and Butthead Duel America.
Everybody's raving about the Universe one. Yeah, that's a new one, right? Universe. I'm about Universe.
Universe. Yeah, no.
I haven't watched it yet.
Well worth a watch, I can say. But yeah, no, I do think we are. I think we are in the midst of the tide turning, because I mean, you're seeing hard decisions having to be made all across the bow, as you know, things are taking a bit of a downturn for economic reasons. The comfort, the nice comfortable pillow that everyone had to be able to kind of float on is getting mighty thin.
You guys have much familiar with like the film festival circuit? I'm sorry, look, I mean to interrupt you, but your thoughts on the film festival analogy with this? Like this type of woke crap content, or very ideological content, is very, very common in smaller independent film. Like, this is not like a new thing. Like, you know, a gay film or something that's very inflammatory, or even something that's like outrageous, very common in the indie circles. Like, I've covered film festivals and I've been to film festivals for years. It just seems like that tenor is common in blockbuster level now. Is that a fair assessment?
It is. It is, very much is. And what you've got is you've got a new guard of writers. The old guard has almost been completely dismissed. Very few people in the old guard are still working. One place they are working is the Orville. Thank effing God. There are some places where you've got, like Brennan Braga, you've got some of the old guard still working, but most of them have been pushed out and replaced with this new generation of scissoring hens that we've talked about on here before. And those are the people that are in charge now. And a lot of them have to do with JJ and Bad Reboot, all this shit you hear in the KK, it's a new guard of writers. And what I'm seriously hoping happens is when they start to get pushed out, they have some kind of big writers strike. They have their own little woke little union, and they just go and they completely replace them. They completely replace them.
Ironcaster was getting at, because I think that the floating on the raft in your pool, getting the easy cakewalk and all that time is ending. So I want to really, because I kind of teased it a little bit in some DMs today. As long as I don't fall asleep and I'm doing okay after our stream tonight, I will likely come back on and stream to do a comic book hangout to just talk about comic books. And one of the things I want to touch on, I read this comic book that was new. It's about Miss Marvel. It's called like Love Unlimited or some nonsense. It's exactly what you're saying, Loki. It's like it's written for children by children. And it's like all pastels and pinks and purples, and they walk around, they talk about food and blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. It's like all this, like, long gone is the Grant Morrison, Frank Miller comic book. Like, it's so freaking dead. It's like,
it's not just dead, it's hated, Pops. They hate it. These people hate that. They hate everything that came before them, and they want to rewrite it all and make it theirs and say, we did this first.
And that's all bled into all of entertainment. So,
yes.
But we have to get to chatter. I'll never be able to catch up. So Gap is saying that, talk about Twitter news. And I tell you what, I do not trust Twitter news as being something that people aren't just paying to get there, basically. But that they get rid of all these other categories, news and whatever, and the central flow of trans. That's a recent change I noticed. Yeah. I think it's going to continue to be in flux, and especially if the ownership stuff actually does. PKL Entertainment, thanks, man, for hopping in here. Great question too. Is the audience to blame? I have to be honest. In a lot of ways, yeah, we are. It is so much more common from my experience that if it bleeds, it reads is true. Like, people want to look at the car crash and the ambulance and the sirens and the lights than they do about good news. And I know people always say, I want to see good news. I want to see happy news and whatever. I've written those stories. I've covered those stories. I've done those interviews. And when you do those and you get like 120 views and you spent hours of blood, sweat, and tears to do it, and then you do like a murder-suicide story with 3 names in the headline and you're getting thousands of views, it does incentivize the wrong behavior. It really does. And it stinks, man. It freaking stinks. I would rather write and do, one article a week that was like, human interest and positive stories. But when you do all that and you get nothing in returon, people that you're working with are not thrilled.
Eventually you have to pay for that, though. What PKL is talking about, and I'm not going to call the person out by name, but we all know of a YouTuber that did nothing but KK stories. It was KK this, KK that, KK's going to get fired, KK's going to get replaced by this guy. Disney's had enough of KK, Lucasfilm is going to fire KK, KK. And eventually his audience turned on him, and he lost a big majority of his audience because all he did was KK videos. And whether or not it was, well, I have it from a defined source. Oh, I have it from a direct source at Disney. Oh, I have it from this source. Doesn't fucking matter when nothing, sorry, again, F-bomb. When nothing happens and you keep saying it's going to happen over and over again and nothing happens, people get tired of listening, and it's crying wolf. You're crying wolf. And you're making money off of these people. This is a big thing here, folks. People that are paying for this, that pay, and then nothing happens, they get twisted and turned, and they say no more. I'm not gonna pay this anymore. I'm not gonna pay other YouTubers anymore. And it's a hit to everyone. It's not just a hit to them. It's a hit to all of us because they turn their backs on a community and go, no, I'm not gonna have anything to do with any of these people because I've been lied to so much.
Ironcaster, do you have an example that you'd even be willing to share that, where something's like, maybe it's not even like they have betrayed your trust, but maybe, or I have to be honest, I'll give examples of being like apathetic. Like they just do the same freaking thing so often that I'm just bored of it. I just don't care. Like I moved on to something else.
I mean, not in terms of any of the YouTube
Maybe it's been
side of
mainstream
things.
news or something like that. Maybe even like you used to watch it pretty religiously or whatever. I got this way with like radio. Like there were like radio shows I'd kind of flip on if I was in the car, and after a while, I'm like, it's the same freaking shtick every day, day in, day out, week after week. I just don't care anymore. I can go somewhere with my time and run business.
Well, one notable example that comes to mind was Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I should say the last season. I go to turn on and start the first episode of last season, and it was just watching it. It was like every single one of the female characters was written with the exact same tone, and it didn't have the same quality as the start of the series, and I just lost interest in coming back. And I mean, since then I've gone on to get so many other enjoyable things. I mean, there's infinite YouTubers to watch.
Flipped Out's here. I don't think we've had Flipped Out before on Talk Hard. Thanks for hopping in. That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining. And
Flipped Out's awesome. Flipped Out is absolutely awesome.
Flipped Out's great. And then it says, sometimes it feels like pandering. That's a good word for some of this stuff. We shall see if they will give us anything. Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, Steven has a good point. Is Paramount pandering, Loki? Maybe.
It's possible. It is possible, saying, well, we're not going to make good content in the future. We're just going to keep pumping out the crap we are. But they did Top Gun. I think Top Gun, though, is an anomaly. I'm one of those people that's like, Paramount does not know what it does because Tom Cruise was behind Top Gun. It had to be a great movie. You heard him cursing out one of the employees on the set. And I mean, just going off on this guy.
Yep.
Because he's like, no one's going to ruin this movie. You're not going to ruin this movie. And this guy's not going to ruin this movie. We're going to have a guy. And it's like, he wants it to be a slam dunk because he knows where the money comes from. He's not delusional in that, well, if this bombs, the company's going to get a tax write-off. You know how much tax write-off stuff the movie studios are getting from the government right now? Enough to cover the cost of the whole movie. So they don't care if it does good. They don't give a crap if it does good. As long as it's covered by the government and they're getting their tax write-offs and they're getting their COVID checks, they don't care because it's paid for in their eyes. So they don't have to worry about it whether it's going to be successful or not because they want to flood their streaming services with content. They want to have more content than the next guy. That's all that matters right now.
Yeah, I just think that Ironcaster, you were saying this earlier too. Like, is the gravy train drying up a little bit? Probably, but we still got a lot. We probably still have a long way to go through. Some of the system, right? Some of it's got to wash through a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, we're definitely in the process of coming. I don't want to say coming at the other side because things can always take that left turn. I think we're definitely in the process of an improvement overall. Whatever the end result is, I think it's probably going to be better than where we're at now.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
Steve Ransom's throwing out YouTuber names. We're not getting in. We're not going to keep playing YouTube names. But awesome one. Listen, what kind of pronoun nonsense is this? Howdy, they, them, Bobs. I see what you're playing here, man. Shenanigans is what this is. Shenanigans. And then Tom Cruise has got his head on the swivel for sure. Yeah, man. He is. Look, Tom at this point in his career, he's calling shots. He's literally at the top of the heap. And Mavericks put him in an elite category with his resume. He's been there and done that with all these different films and projects. I mean, you can look through his resume of different hits and misses, things that should have been better than they were and weren't, those kinds of things. So I agree with you, Loki. I give Cruise way more credit than I give Paramount. Absolutely. And we'll see where we kind of end up in the years. But I will give Paramount, I think more than new content, this is Paramount's way of saying we're not going to mess around and F with these classics, right? You can just go ahead and cry about representation in this film and that film. We're not editing this. We're not putting up a bunch of trigger warnings. We're not doing that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Ironcaster?
I want to say it's it's probably people at Paramount that have been at least watching what's been going on with Disney. because you've seen
Fair
Disney
enough.
get flack for this stuff.
Ironcaster, Disney has jumped through hoops to make their little woke crowd happy. Put a trigger warning up for this. Don't play the Song of the South. Can't have Song of the South up on Disney Plus. Take it all down, remove it. They spent what, $1 million to wipe out Daryl Hannah's ass in Splash? Really? To put a little furry rug around her butt?
Longer hair down, yeah. The Simpsons? They messed with Simpsons?
Oh, have they?
Well, they put it back. Thanks to the fan outcry, they messed with Simpsons. They had to put it back. It was it was again silly nonsense. It wasn't like, and as far as I know, they put it back. I mean, I'm not on there watching Simpsons stuff, but yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, it's gone so far that they're going through and they're reworking Splash Mountain to remove any of the Song of the South stuff. They're going into the parks.
You want to get me on the theme park stuff, bro? Oh, freaking theme park stuff! Oh my god, yeah, they're basically taking out this. If you haven't been to Disney World here in Florida, at Magic Kingdom, they're taking out the Splash Mountain ride. It had a very soft Song of the South sort of theme with Brer Rabbit and Brer. This was not really much to do about the film at all. It was more like just characters plucked from it. Like it really was just silly. And now it's all being stripped away for another generic vanilla modern thing. Yeah, it's freaking Pirates. Pirates is really touchy for me, bro. Pirates is the worst one for me. They took out the freaking redhead. They took out the fat redhead. They put in the hot pirate, and they changed this. I'm so.
They took out Johnny Depp. They took out Captain Sparrow. Was
he off the ride? I didn't know he was off.
He's off the ride. Him sitting in his chair. But now what? Disney's going to bring him back? What are they going to put him back in the ride now?
He's in the ride like 4 or 5 times. They took him out of all the spots.
They took him out of all the spots. They removed him.
Well, how do they even make the story work? Because it doesn't even make sense if you take him out of everything. Because the whole point was they changed the whole story to put him in. Like they changed the whole ride to put him in. Like he pops out of a barrel. He's standing there looking. He's in like 4 or 5 spots. And then like the redhead was part of the auction, right? They're auctioning off the fat redhead. We want the redhead. Now it's like this hot redhead, like she's a hot pirate. I'm like, it's so flippin' stupid. Yeah. Oh, now we're venturing into stressful area. I can't even think about that. All right. So Wakazashi Tea House. Gray is here. Good morning, Japan. Good morning. Credo and Espeedo. They say his name 3 times. He just shows up. Is that how that works? I don't know what happened. They were talking about Credo Espeedo. Next thing you know, he's here. Maybe they were saying hi to him. I just missed it. So I apologize if I ever missed you guys in chat. I am totally boomering when it comes to all this. You guys should know that if you are here at all. Got to get back to posting and studying, fam. Please support Pops. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate those kind words, man. Thanks.
And konnichiwa, Wakazashi.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Preaching the message from either side. No name necessary. Fair enough. No, I think you're right, man. Look, I got to be honest. I love these guys and I want to support them and stuff like that. And you guys know I run a PG-13 kind of house. I have no judgment. Everybody can do their own flipping thing. But I have to be honest. Yeah, Ryan can be too much for me sometimes. Be honest. I don't. Every video you see the same. Fair enough. I don't care though, right? So I don't think though he's addicted to doing it to the point where it sacrifices his credibility. I think he'll ride a wave, but he's not going to just ride rumor mills and crap like that, which I think is what Loki was trying to use as a better example, like the whole KK is getting fired, which makes no flipping sense. I actually got into somebody who was messaging me. They started messaging me privately. Oh, what happened? I get to hit the silly button. I'm like, Indiana Jones hasn't come out. Just don't even talk about it till Indiana Jones is done. Her fingerprints are all over that. She has to make a name for herself. We have got that to get through first. So, and I guess you were confirming, right? Bob Chapek got an up on a contract or something.
Yeah, that's what I've been coming across.
I got to be honest. I don't blame Bob Chapek. This stuff started long before him. He's just a spineless weasel. Doesn't know what to do. The numbers are awful. Well, this is better. He's in a better place than Zaslav is. These companies are just freaking melting down. So I don't even know what to say.
I don't know. I think Zaslav is in a stronger position though.
He is. So I'll agree with you in the sense that as it continues to melt down, he can blame everybody else because all this stuff was someone else's thing. He hired all this stuff was given to him. The decisions he has made hasn't even begun production. Like we don't even have any sign of where we're going to go. And that's what Loki, I think you were saying earlier, is like, yeah, they may say these things, but it's having to do with new content. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the problem is by the time we know, we may forget that we even had this conversation. because it's going to be 2 years from now at the minimum. I don't know. Yeah.
CNN Plus.
CNN Plus. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what lasts. I don't know. Like, for instance, let me ask you guys this. So, like, do you ever read a USA Today? Yet they have like the second highest circulation or something. Like, it's so insane because it's just like they have these hotel contracts or something like that. They're just basically like pummeling propaganda at everyone's feet for free. It's so weird.
Well, that's basically what you've got with streaming. When they say, "Oh, whoa, Halo, the newest, most successful sci-fi." No, it's not, bitches. No, it's not. Don't even give us that, Paramount.
Calm down, hands.
Don't
Calm
tell
down,
us
hands.
that. That's right. No, don't even tell us that. With the streaming, it is extremely difficult to get numbers. And when you do, and you find out that, oh, guess what? There were only 151,000 people that tuned in to watch Batwoman last night, but Batwoman's like the greatest superhero television series of all time. Batwoman. 150,000. There were more people watching The Flash in the 90s when it ended than there are still watching Batman while it's going on live. It's like, don't pee on us and tell us it's raining. That's horseshit. And they all are doing it. The greatest television show, the greatest Marvel series, the greatest MCU spectacular. No, it's not. And you're being lied to. And all they care about is like I've said, is getting as much content on their channel as possible because they want more content than what the other guys have. And they want something only they have to give you a reason to keep subbing. And right now, all of that is being fronted to them. All the money they're spending, the money they're throwing into the television series, the money they're throwing into it, all of that's being tax cut, write-offs,
previous budgets,
government funded, and they don't have to worry about it. So they can just throw shit at a wall until something sticks and go, "We are doing great." When in reality, they're treading water before they're going to drown. Someone's going to have to throw them a life jacket, and it may just be the government. That's what, if Disney goes down and the government saves them, I've lost every bit of respect for the way our government works because Disney as a company needs to go down. I want them to sell off Lucasfilm, sell off the licensing, let them fight their way back and earn your watch. Don't give them a freebie, for God's sake.
Why did anyone think Chapek would turn things around? He greenlit Galaxy's Edge and the faux Star Wars Hotel. Did that scream competence? I think Chapek in particular doesn't have a lot of blood on his hands with those two projects compared to some of the other executives, especially in Imagineering. Imagineering is going to take a lot more heat. I don't follow their staffing and stuff like that, but if I had to blame anyone, the way they would present and pitched and did certain things, and then of course you have rides that don't work. I mean, this major ride that goes to formerly known as the MGM Studios, Hollywood Studios, whatever the thing is called. That Star Wars ride hardly ever works. Like you'll be in line. It'll take you 4 hours to get on and off this thing because it'll break down and you're stuck for an hour. Then it starts working, then it doesn't work, and maybe it's better now. But yeah, I don't. Yeah,
their hotel doesn't even work. Have you read it? Have you read any of that?
I read mostly the insider stuff, like when I could tolerate it, but I've lost so much interest now. But when I saw the initial promo shots of like what their Chewbacca looked like a freaking knockoff of Teen Wolf. And then their bar, the singer, was like a knockoff of Fifth Element. I'm like, this is such freaking trash. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how it gets through. Chapek or not. Yeah. Gray says that Disney has pretty much killed. No, they have killed Star Wars, my friend. They are stealing. They're killing Star Wars, murdering Marvel. I think that's also happened in a lot of ways. R.I.P. Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, because of a lot of reasons, and actually staggering when you stop and think about it. Yeah, because Pixar is a freaking disaster with this. They stood by all these decisions. They stood by Chris Evans saying these things, and the way they were so freaking condescending. Ironcaster, did you see some of the condescending approach to why they picked Evans over bringing Tim Allen back? Because they lied.
Well,
They
I mean,
basically made it seem like, well, the original Buzz Lightyear, the toy, he's kind of dumb. He was there for comic relief. So we need someone with some gravitas. And I almost threw up in my mouth. I was so freaking insulted. I don't care about the stupid gay kiss. I care more about just the entire context of the franchise.
no, I didn't hear about that part.
Oh yeah, that was what they did. Oh, I don't say director.
Tim
writer.
Allen doesn't have any depth, my ass.
It makes no
honestly,
freaking sense.
As soon as I saw they recast him, I immediately knew. It was like I just dealing with him enough. I knew that it had to be political because, come on, Tim Allen in theory shouldn't cost as much as Chris Evans financially.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Also, one greatest bowel movement. I don't even know.
I don't know. It's like honestly, in a way though, they've done me a favor by just ruining like Star Wars and Marvel and Halo. It's forced me to look beyond the normal waters I was sitting in. Now I have to go out and check out some other stuff, and now I am just devouring Kamen Rider. I am getting down with some Ultraman every week. Like there is.
I think Steven's agreeing with you too, because he says the world started moving faster, and I think that's what you're saying too, man. Like this some of this stuff was in the works, true, but I will say with the pandemic, man, it was like gas on the freaking bonfire, right? Everything went faster. So,
which I think also
hey,
though,
man, thanks for hopping in here, man. It's awesome.
With them trying to push these properties to try to keep up with that, it then had the side effect of taking away any time for anything to rest.
No, nothing rests. Marvel was like a freaking.
Week.
They're freaking crackheads with Marvel. We couldn't have just 2 a year. We had to have 3. Then we're looking at 4. You're looking at this. You're looking at that. They don't even care about the order. Remember Spider-Man? Spider-Man was supposed to come out before Endgame. And no, it doesn't matter. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. And it's like, okay, you're creating problems. Oh, screw problems. We're just going to do Black Widow now. Black Widow now? That's a Phase 2 movie. What the hell are you still doing Black Widow for? Like what?
Because they had to show that they were pro women, and they were never going to do Black Widow in the first place. When they should have, because we all loved her. We all loved ScarJo doing Black Widow. We all would have turned out in droves. The hot redhead in the A-Team, and they had no faith that we actually would. And then they do it after everything, and it doesn't make sense. And they've got a dude in a suit that's supposed to be a woman. You can see the guy's package. You can see the guy's
the way he walks, man. It's freaking great. It should have just been. Here's the real movie should have been. Tell me I'm wrong. People in chat, you tell me I'm wrong. Give me a 1 if I'm right, 2 if I'm wrong. It should have just been called Budapest, and then in small letters, Black Widow and Hawkeye. And that's what it should have been. And it should have been a Phase 2 movie. And it should have been a linchpin to move the phase forward, and that movie would have made $700-800 billion easily.
I would have even done a buddy cop team up of the Falcon and War Machine, just kind of going for like a Bad Boys-esque feel with those two, because they're sidekicks that in theory should be able to run their own movie. They're both military. There's a lot of potential there. You could have done with those two.
War Machine movie was rumored for a long time. It just couldn't go anywhere. I don't think they have any faith in Don Cheadle. That's just my purpose. I think these are freaking racist scumbags. So, didn't Disney? Yeah, I know. Didn't Disney make an announcement that Lightyear is the greatest movie released since Oh my God, we're making a mom reference. Chris, you're testing me if I can handle it. It was one of the next movie released and had a box office. I literally had one of the normies today that she finally watched Mom. Doctor Strange Mom on Plus, and she was like, I didn't really like it. I didn't hate it. And I said, oh, what do you think of this? And what did I ask her? I asked her about, because she said, I don't understand Zombie Strange. I said, because there was a what if show about zombies. Don't you get it? Aren't you excited? Because now you have zombies. And you'd be like, oh, I saw this show. And she's like, no, I didn't feel that way at all. What about this? I said, and I asked her about like the third eye and what. Yeah, nothing is going to make sense. They don't care that it doesn't make sense. So. Okay, listen, Craig, we have our conspiracy theories about blaming the CERN particle collider. It blew a cloud world and nobody noticed. I've said this before. It's Back to the Future 2 with the alternate timeline. None of us got the message from Doc Brown that something happened around 2015, 2016. It wasn't just the election. Something else broke in the system, and we're on a different line. It's on a line, and if we go back in time, we're only going back in our own time. Someone's got to figure out how to go back and reset us, because right now we're in a freaking alternate universe that none of us can do anything with. It's that bad. Because didn't freaking Halo's getting at least one more season, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh Lord. I didn't share. Did I share our posters? I'm gonna derail everything, chat. Sorry. Hang on to your hats, baby. I gotta find the posters. All right. Talk about something, Loki, while I find my freaking posters. I don't know where I put them. I gotta find the posters. I made 2 posters for you, Loki. Ironcaster.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
All right.
Go ahead, Ironcaster.
No, I'm like I've got nothing. I'll let you talk.
The thing with streaming, and that's what we're looking at here. And you want to know why Obi-Wan sucked. You want to know why we didn't get a trilogy, which was what we were supposed to get, an Obi-Wan trilogy. They're getting more money kickbacks for bringing it as a series to the streaming services. So if they can do that and they can just immediately bring it to the streaming service and get tax kickbacks and get it paid for, if you can get most of the show paid for and you only have to pay, let's say you spend, we're spending $100 million per episode. Really? On Obi-Wan? You're going to pay $100 million to have a dude on a 360-degree screen set out in the desert? Well, yes. That's what you're if you're only paying $10 million an episode, that's a $90 million an episode kickback. If you only get half of your movie covered, then you're at $100 million. If it's a $200 million film, you're at $100 million. But by God, if you do this series, well, think about that: six episodes, $100 million a piece, 600 minus 6. That's $540 million that's covered.
Yep.
For that one season.
And the writer,
that's probably why.
Go ahead, and you're right. You're going to say it.
That's probably why, why they'll go out. They'll go to so many countries to film, and then you sit in front of a green screen. It's because they can get massive deals.
And that's why they're paying. That's why they're paying nobodies to write, because they're paying them nothing. They hire these nothing people. They hire the actors that have never been in, and then they'll have one thing. They're like, oh well, we're paying this person, $10 million an episode to come back. We're paying the Darth Vader $10 million an episode to come back and be in the suit for 2 episodes. But they're paying a writing team peanuts.
They have no credit. Masha K. Ali was not a writer. She was a quote, feminist podcast comedian of some sort, and she was somehow given some sort of reason to write some of this because she had the right nationality, and then she got a little bit into it, and then they gave her a gig on Netflix, and she bailed out. Yep. It's this freaking Hollywood poison in the water. We got to catch up on chat, and then I'll share the poster. We needed that for Endgame to have more heart. Yes, Black Widow and Hawkeye, a Budapest story would have been so great. The nerds would have lost their minds. They're too busy trying to come up with other nonsense. All right, I'm clicking the wrong button. Okay, send the Avengers in their CGI suits. Yeah, I know. It's so rough. All right. Black Widow was in a team. I'm not sure what else someone's getting at. What she would have said, that would have been cool. Is that obviously there's tons of team ups and stuff like that. I really wanted to see them get their hands back on. If they hadn't killed Black Widow off, it would be great to see her with Daredevil, because they're some of the best comics.
Is he talking about Alpha Flight? Oh yeah, me and you. Yes, Ironcaster, me and you on the same fucking way. The Alpha Flight.
Alpha Flight, yeah.
Alpha Flight.
Alpha Flight.
PKI, I think there's literally like a weariness with the normies. Like it's just too much. And at this point now, the cost is up, gas is up, whatever. It's just too much for them. They're just like, I'll just wait for it to come out. Like people will wait 45 days. They will. No problem at all. Okay, so let's do this. This is so much fun. I am not a good Photoshop person. This was literally I think I shared it to you guys at least once. But I just was like, well, stuff's downloading, so I'm kind of stuck. So I'll open Photoshop, and I found this. So I made one of them.
Yep. Miss Mullet.
I left our logo so that we wouldn't have to deal with any issues if we decide to use it for something later on. So that was one. And I finished another one. Let me see if I can switch.
Miss
Stop
Smollett,
sharing.
a Halo story.
I had to start somewhere. So let me share the other one. And because I tell you what, man, I had such a fun time because I felt like it literally was like Mystery Science Theater.
What do we got here? Yes,
Strawberry Spartan.
Strawberry Spartan 17.
I wish the poster had the red in her hair though, but it was like promoted before her butt plug was removed, so she still had her normal hair. But yeah, man. So I have more of the posters downloaded. The fonts are all strange and color. I'll have to reach out to someone like Steven Ransom or you guys that really know the Photoshop and stuff like that, because Doctor's poster is like blue. The background's different. It's real. Again, I'm a super novice at this kind of stuff, folks. I have no desire to spend a bunch. I'm not. Yeah, you wanted to look. These things were nice because the backgrounds were dark, so it's easier to kind of blend it a little bit, so it doesn't look as bad. It's like, the way they shoot these shows. Like we're talking about these crappy shows. They shoot everything in the freaking dark so you can hide all your crappy CGI. You're not fooling anybody. That's why I can't see it on my flipping phone. It's just a bunch of black. I can't see anything. You were talking about Game of Thrones. I didn't watch Game of Thrones in real time. Not my show, right? Loved it for 3 seasons. I binged it in about 3 weeks, just so you guys know. I watched all of Game of Thrones in 3 weeks. Actually, starting in season 4, I was like, it seemed like I had a way worse response started at season 4 than a lot of people did in real time. But I thought season 8 was so bad. And then it was compounded by the fact that I could see nothing on my phone. There were literally like scenes where I'm like, I can't see. I can see nothing. I know there's movement. I'm messing with the lighting on my phone. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. I'm like, it's not made for my phone, obviously. So I was like, screw you people. Let's get through it. Anyway, I don't know. It was rough. Pacific 414 is here. Hey, Mike. Thanks for hopping in here, man. You can DM me some techniques, or I got to be honest, man, I'll DM you like one of the posters and let you play Doctor with her, because she's a great poster. It's just blue and stuff. So it's, yeah, it is what it is. So we talked about some of the pop culture-y stuff and the news and some of the hard news and that kind of thing. And I think, look, you did a good job on your thing where you're highlighting, the criminal elements in these companies and the cover-ups and that kind of thing. I don't know where we go. I don't know that we're at the end of a gravy train. I know there's still a whole bunch of stuff that's been in the pipeline for a long time. And with Ironcaster, like the finger in the wind is something has changed. But I don't know when we'll see that. I don't know when. I want to see more, because the comic book industry was ahead of the Hollywood part, right? So we all could agree, like the comic book stuff started way back at 2009 and 2012, right? That's when it really went off the, pick a comic title, pick an artist, pick a whatever. That's when it went off the freaking cliff. So I always thought, well, we'll see that first, because that's when but they're just using them all as lost leaders. They just treat Marvel comics. It's like there are so many first appearances. It makes the 90s and the 80s look like they never had a first appearance. It's so bad now. Every single issue is a first appearance. I don't know. You guys familiar with the Key Collector? You guys know what I'm talking? Loki, you familiar with Key Collector?
No, I'm not.
It's like an app on your phone, and you can just search a title, and it will. So let me try to find something that's brand new, because I was looking at something. Let's try to find something new that was in here. It's like an app, and they'll put this thing in here, and you go to a title, and it'll just show you an idea. They have these little paragraphs that will talk about why it's on their hot list or whatever. You remember Wizard comic books?
Oh yeah. I've still got like a tote full of those damn things.
Right. So it's basically an app that's like Wizard. It's probably not as legitimate as they try to seem, because they're probably getting paid for some different promotions and things like that. I think that their lists are pretty good. I think that they do some research, and they do a good job, in my opinion, of putting in there things that are rumored. So they're not going to take ownership of some of this crap. They're like, deadline reports or rumored to be, things like that. Right. But they're not. Anyway, my point is, if you go to like some of these like new issues, and I don't know if I couldn't think of a title off the top of my head because I don't read any of it. You'll go and it's like issue 1, first appearance, issue 2, first appearance, for issue 3, nothing, 4, first appearance. It's like, this is insane. there's no stories. It's just like, how do you make another character, throw it against the wall, see if it can go somewhere we can make some money. It's just literally like the worst of the gimmicks in the 90s on steroids without any of the cool gimmicks. Because I love my cool gimmicks. Totally admitted that they're bad for our health, but foil covers were freaking cool, man. I'm sorry. They were freaking cool. I know they were stupid.
Yeah, have some of the fun stuff.
They were so much fun. Where do we go? How do we survive? What do? We just keep clinging to our good stuff. Ironcaster, your motto: find the good stuff and make the most of it. It's the Ironcaster motto.
Yeah, no, it's. I think the biggest thing we got to do is keep finding that positive. You know, I mean, I don't like where Star Wars is going. I haven't. The last thing I watched was The Mandalorian, and it was Boba Fett. I didn't even watch Kenobi. I didn't watch The Bad Batch. I'm becoming more selective with the Star Wars stuff because I can't trust the name brand anymore. I just went and sold off a bunch of my Star Wars stuff just to one, I needed the room, but I didn't hold the value anymore. Obi-Wan was my favorite character. I sold off my Obi-Wan action figures.
Wow. Do you start to look here? You starting to look at it all with like a disdain? Is it all starting to look at certain things and look at it like, ugh. Like
I've been there, brother. I've been there.
Like he's saying, like I'm going to sell my Obi-Wan off now. Like it's poisoned the well to the point where I know I still love the old stuff, but at some point I'm just like I don't want to look at this right now.
Like I mean, don't get me wrong, I still love the original movies. I mean,
sure.
I even like the Ewok movies.
You're just not quite the fan you used to be, are you?
Exactly.
Fair enough.
So I was willing to look at like my Darth Maul Funko Pop I had, and I said, as much as I like this character, I don't love this pop anymore. You know, I still like the character. I just don't need the memorabilia.
Gotcha.
To hold on to my love for the old stuff, I had to walk away from all the shit they're doing now. I just had to. That's why I don't cover it. That's why I don't talk about it. I'm not going to do it. I agree with you know what? When they kicked Gina out, I said, nope, I'm not covering it anymore. And I've kept to that. And I've had to tell myself, I'm not going to watch this. I'm not going to have anything to do with this because I know where it's going. I called it. I was right. I said as soon as I saw the damn trailer, I knew exactly. Yes, Ironcaster. Yes. I got one of those too. I've got the Black Series one too.
I've got one both in and out of box.
You've had enough. And if you wanna hang on to that old stuff, just don't have anything to do with the new shit that's coming out. That's where you got to draw the line.
Chris, your Loki is literally a 4-letter word for me, bro. Loki broke me. Loki's the bottom for me in this show. That first, I told my wife because that's her favorite character. I said, you cannot watch the show. Do not go go behind my back. Don't do it. No. Oh, they're all asking about your stuff, and then the stream on the thing was filled with joy. Steve Ransom says, "Thank you, my friend. There was joy in our hearts." And then Jeffrey's stream on Blade Runner the same. Yeah, I didn't want to compete against folks doing Blade Runner because we didn't have time to fit in another one. But yeah, I felt the same way about Blade Runner. But we wanted to try to. I think I chose Thing over Blade Runner because I thought there was less coverage for Thing, just based on its legacy. And yes, there was literally. I think all three of us can agree. When we did those 3 streams, right? Because we did Tremors, Wrath of Khan, and then The Thing. We don't have to fake our reaction to any of this stuff, folks. We're just being ourselves. We pros and cons, but we literally want to have some positive because Halo is so flipping bad. We literally, we've all admitted, Loki, you're less at the confessional Ironcaster than I are. It's like I don't even know which characters are which other than our freaking nicknames. Like exactly. I think there was episode 7. And Ironcaster, I don't know the freaking name. I don't know the character's name at all. I don't know its name. I just know we call him Little Michael Clark Duncan. I don't know his freaking name. He's just a dude.
Remember Squirrel.
and Squirrel. we gave them those names because of completely different IPs. Autumn Sunrise, yeah. She got her name because of her hair, because of a line in Ghost where some wife of a dead guy was like, "Do you like my hair? It's Autumn Sunrise," because it looks like her hair in the show. So
that was a Joe Dirt mullet if I ever saw one. Sorry, lady. They screwed you over when they did her hair. It's like, that is a flippin'. That's even a bad mullet for mullet's sake, man. That was horrible, man. It was terrible, Miss Mullet.
It's pronounced Dear Tay. Oh, your name is Dirt.
And they didn't even get like the backgrounds of the characters right. So it doesn't. None of that is authentic. It's not. It's just someone writing fan fiction.
We needed that, and more for the kids. For the kids, I like that, Steve Ransom. We have to have good streams for the kids. All right, maybe.
I feel like it is worth bringing up sometimes. Like, yeah, they're not going to get everything right, and sometimes changes just have to be made for the sake of for an adaptation, but they still have to at least make the effort.
There was no effort because they literally manufactured Miss Mullet and not Dave Chappelle for fluff because they weren't even relevant to the story that they freaking created. Like by episode 7, those two were completely done, irrelevant. They never mattered. It was their way of fluffing that series up from being 2 or 3 episodes of actual story into 9 episodes. It's so flippin' insulting. And I'm not even a Halo fan. This is someone that just likes decent content, decent sci-fi, and as someone who appreciates good writing and set design and creation, it's freaking it's blasphemous. You guys are criminal. Oh, it's criminal.
Pops, do you remember Keys, the black gentleman? He dies in the game fighting the Covenant. You go in to rescue him, and he's been murdered by this alien thing that takes over his body. His daughter, the first time you see Miranda Autumn Sunrise, who she's not Autumn Sunrise, the first time you see Miranda, she is accepting a medal posthumously for her father, and then the Covenant attack, and she's the one that's like, let's go get him. Like, almost like, let's go get him, revenge for my father. She's the one that's like, we're taking the fight to them. Let's go get him. This was a ball-busting badass bitch, and they turned her into a geeky Autumn Sunrise nobody.
Yeah, I know. It's a strong woman they all claim doesn't exist. From what I understand, she's basically the freaking Ripley of this universe. Like, she's that freaking badass woman that can go in there and throw down against the aliens. And instead we get geeky girl who's geeking out over her stupid lab and not paying attention so Dr. can hack in it. And it's all crap. It was such freaking garbage. It doesn't get the credit it deserves as being trash because so many things are at least that bad or worse. Awesome one. What are you saying over here? Walmart fan, just $15 does its job. I guess to cool me off.
Oh, so, really quick.
Yes.
You want to talk about an awesome find at Walmart? I got Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan theatrical cut, 4K. I got Search for Spock, 4K theatrical cut. I got Voyage Home theatrical cut, 4K, $15.
A piece?
$15. No, for all
$5
three.
A piece?
$5 a piece at Walmart.
4K versions?
4K, $5 a piece.
How? What?
I'm gobsmacked.
They're looking at me like I'm crazy.
I'm gobsmacked. Like he's changing. Loki's freaking changing stickers in the dressing room. What the hell? No way. You got
$5.
4Ks for $5.
4K for $5. $15 total
Wrath
for all three
freaking
movies.
Khan?
Wrath of freaking Khan theatrical. The theatrical. It's not the director's
I
cut.
don't care. It's a 4K
Search
version.
for Spock and
I have like 9 copies of this. I told you when I opened my disc because I don't even know where I got these cases. These cases are like this thick. They hold like 12 discs or 14 discs or whatever. There's like 3 or 4 versions of Khan in there. I'm like, I have 1 disc for all the movies, and then Khan's like Khan. I have no idea. I have no idea where the original packaging is. At some point, I'm like, I probably got ruined. Let's buy another one. Oh wait, here's the disc. I found it, or something. Who knows? Oh my god, $5 freaking. So I don't go to Walmart. They're on the list. I'm so anti big corporation. Again, I'm the Antichrist libertarian guy, and I'm just over all of it. I hate it.
It was accident. It was an accident. It was a total accident because I wasn't there for that. I was there. They came out with the second run. I just found out they came out with the second run of colored albums for Metallica. So they've got a whole nother generation, load, reload, Garage Incorporated.
The vinyl one?
The vinyls. So colored disc vinyls. I've got the original, so I got Kill 'Em All, Justice for all that shit. And then they've come out with this second edition. So I was there to get all of them, which I did. I was able to get all of them. I was like, holy shit, I got all 5 of them at one point. But then I'm looking at movies and boom, there's all 3 4K, $15.
It's like the light just shined down just right.
Right, isn't that the best? So I did the Funko thing, and my wife would think I'm crazy. So I waited a Funko thing. Do you remember when they did the Star Wars Funkos that were only at Walmart and they were gold? They were all gold.
Oh yeah.
Walmart. They were Walmart exclusives. They were all gold. We were in some rando Walmart, not where we would go, and they were literally like there was like a dividing wall between where like something else, and then there was like jewelry. They were buy jewelry, and all of these gold boxes are there. And I bought them all. They were like $5. Bought them all of them. She's like, "What are you doing?" I sold one before we got home. I sold one. I literally am in the car in the back. I took a couple pictures and I posted one on eBay for like $15. I sold one before we even got home. I moved those things so flipping fast. It was nuts. It was like just walking into like a discount store that had like treasure, and you're like, what the heck happened? They're all freaking here. What they got moved or something by accident or something, or I don't know. Anyway, Greedo Speedo bringing up Metallica. We should have a Metallica moment. How many times have you seen Metallica, guys?
Twice. And you're talking me alive?
Yeah,
twice. I was really pissed I couldn't go see S&M because I was so good to go see S&M. I love Michael Kamen. Michael Kamen's great. For those of you who don't know, great composer, great conductor. He has been working with Metallica since the very beginning. Go back and look at their songs. You'll see composed Michael Kamen, Lars Ulrich. Michael Kamen's always in there somewhere on their albums. So for them to actually get to do a concert with him and his orchestra, it's kind of like the missing member of the band you never knew existed.
That's cool. That's legit. And by the way, Gap says about not buying Funkos. They used to be 888 and 1188. I actually did a video. It's one of my cheesy early videos where I was talking about like be warned Funko people, because now there are so many at Walmart. That's a sign of the industry dying, by the way, just so you guys know. Pop them open and play with them, because now they're not going to be worth much. There's only a few. Very few are worth something. So
I've got a blue Loki. He's the Frost Loki from the original Thor. Yeah. That's worth like $1,000, I think.
Yeah, the color variants that were Walmart exclusives are definitely. And if you want a Walmart exclusive, get it, make sure it's nice, get it home, put it in a plastic container, and just do your best with it. So saw Metallica twice as well. The best part was we were the first show on the, what do they call the Devastation tour, where they destroy the stage. And you know what I'm talking about, where the show is like ending, but then it starts blowing up, and they have like a stagehand who falls on a rope, and they have all this stuff that happens. They basically, it just wrecks. It's as though they played so loud and whatever, it destroyed the stage. They had fires, all this fake. It was supposed to be fake, but it was so legit, and it was the first show. We didn't know it was fake because it hadn't leaked out to the public yet. This was the shtick of the show. And it was like this devastation show thing or whatever. Their music was going to destroy everything, and they set fire. So it kind of freaked us out. So that was the first time I saw them was in one of our Florida monsoons at a state fair outside. So we were literally in like a cow pasture in mud and water and so drenched to the bone, and freaking cow pasture seeing Metallica. Just kept playing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Freaking boss, man. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. We talked about all sorts of crazy stuff and didn't really stay on topic in a lot of ways. Sounds like a Loki show.
It does. It damn straight it does.
See what I did there? See what I did there?
That's it.
That's all right. So, yeah, I have so much comic crap to talk about. I'm probably going to do a little stream after this. So I thought, hey, we got what? We only have a few people left here, but if you guys want some, I'm going to do this. I got to get my little address here. So I told the guys before we started, Pops is still trying to clean stuff out. I got stuff everywhere. I do. At the farm, there's stuff everywhere. I'm going on vacation. We'll play the birthday song. My friend says send me a birthday song. So I'll be doing more. I open this box. It's actually a drawer in a cabinet. I have a whole box. There's my little PayPal thing. If you want to PayPal me, I have some of them listed on eBay. About $7 or $8. I forget what I got them. They're original Gremlins packs. Oh wait, I have some here. Hang on, let me grab them real quick. I'll grab them here. And
we need a visual.
Yeah, let me give you a visual cue. Yeah, there we go. All right. Ooh, the storm's rolling in. Florida weather, baby. So these are these things you can get cheap when you find them when they're all like messed up. The boxes, but the packs are not.
Those are
is sealing,
amazing.
wax pack, gum inside. So I've got Gremlins. I found another whole box. So I have another whole box of Gremlins, and I think I have 2 boxes. It looked like 2 boxes of Gremlins 2. And before you bought Gremlins 2, just remember the late, great Christopher Lee was in this movie, and there are Christopher Lee cards in this set. And there is also gum.
Oh,
so
it makes
you
the best
PayPal
pack.
me, $5, Amelia pack. Got to put Gremlins in there so I know why you're sending me money. And then I'll do 4 for $15 so I can move some of these things. And if you buy a bunch of multiples, you guys got to tell me which ones you want. So I'll promote it on the other streams I do this week. I'm going to do another news talk panel tomorrow. And like I said, after this, I'll take a break, check in on everybody, and I'll come back and maybe do some comic book roundtable talk or something like that. Let people come in and do some, I guess, show some stuff, cover some stories. So what's going on with you, Ironcaster?
Not much. Just doing some cleaning around here. Maybe trying to find some more stuff to offload for my own shelf space.
Space management, resource allocation, right? I got to get through these comic books and stuff so I can, because some of these I'll sell and some of them, so we'll pay for the next thing. So I have multiple copies of some of these. This is Andy Smith's First Man, just came out. All minor. These are all signed. Let's see, signed. You can't see it really well. He used a black Sharpie. I don't know why you didn't have a silver Sharpie. He used a black Sharpie right here. It's like it should have been a silver Sharpie. It would have shown up better. This one's better. The program book's better because you can see the signature.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So some of these I will read. I want to do some sort of video or whatever, and then I will sell some of them. I won't sell everything, and then that will pay for more of them. So it keeps funding the addiction, as one of my friends just said to me. So Loki is a normal schedule this week, right? Thursday with Adega, Friday with Mim.
Tomorrow is going to be Coach from Echo Base Network. We're going to be talking about the origins of Echo Base, how him and Nick met, their friendship, and how they started the channel. So that'll be our Wednesday show for YouTube Talk, and then Thursday, and we'll have the Orville on Friday. That's turning out to be a great show.
It is.
People seem to be liking that.
I love the. I actually liked the last episode more than I think your panel did. And I think it was because I can see the wokeness, but they never got mean to me. They never got cruel to me.
I absolutely positively agree. I think it was a decide for yourselves which way you want to go, which Klobby absolutely argued with me to death and said, no, that's not the way it is, Loki. And I'm like, well, I think they left it open to your interpretation of what is right and what is wrong. A lot of people don't feel that way, but that's the way I feel. So
I don't think
that's
they did.
what I think Star Trek used to do.
I don't think they did with the pro-life part because it doesn't come across as being a pro-life message. Like that is the ultimate of the pro-life message. There's a whole organization that we support called Save the Storks, where they basically don't do anything other than offer a free sonogram. And once you see what's happening, no one does it. No one goes through with the procedure. So the fact that they had this it's sort of like Into the Krill, and they're trying to paint it as a negative thing, like, oh no, you have to see the little kid and what you've done. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, that is like the hardcore pro-life message. Like if you can just see what you're doing, you won't do it. And it was like to reverse it and to make it a penalty was the twist. I don't know, man. I love it. And I got kudos, man. They have some cojones to go there.
Yep,
they do. I agree. They're doing it. So I hope it stays the course. It's good stuff. Huh?
I gotta get caught up. I've only watched the first episode of this season so far. So
I did not like episode 3. I hated episode 3. I thought episode 3 was one of the worst episodes ever. 2's great. 2's fine. 3 not so much. 4 is the one we're talking about. So sorry about that.
Okay.
2026 DVD Blu-rays to go through. I still have to.
You, sir, will always have something to watch.
Gap has got stuff.
And also,
great toys, but we did have Gap come in here and do a toy night with us, man. You talk about a great collection of stuff. His vintage Battlestar stuff, man, takes me back. Ooh, love it, Gap.
You remember when you used to have a hard time finding a place for VHS, and that's why you went to DVD in the first place. Was like, oh man, so much space saving and all of that. You can put them up and put them back up on the bookshelves. I have nowhere to put my DVDs. I have so many Blu-rays. I've got like 2 shelves of 4K, but I have no place to put my DVDs. Everything is filled with Blu-rays and 4K. I just don't have the room. And I'm like, I've got 2 big boxes, moving boxes, full of Blu-rays in my closet in my office. I just don't have any place to put.
Yeah, I'm running out of space myself.
Yeah, when we moved, it was like an eye opener, and I kind of looked like a buffoon, and you start to feel like financial, in like how much money have I spent and that kind of thing about space. It's like, so I really did start making some hard decisions, and I do have 2 containers left to still kind of go through, like kind of like tough decisions. Do I sell it? Do I keep it? How many more times am I going to watch it? So it is like that kind of thing, because it is like the physical copy type thing, especially because there's like an assault on changing media. And yeah, Paramount can say what they want to say, but that doesn't mean any of that's going to hold true. So yeah, I do have sort of like a reservation about getting rid of certain physical copies. But more to me, I could agree more about space management. It is definitely a challenge with comic books for me and the physical copies of the movies. Yeah, I've definitely made some tough choices. Digital in some ways has been better, because there are certain things from like, yeah, just digital copy's fine. You know what I mean? It's not like let's just say non-genre stuff, different comedies or dramas, TV shows, certain things that are non-genre type stuff. Yeah, I have. Like I have like a box set of Seinfeld. Am I ever going to watch this again? Like, do I need a physical copy? And I'm kind of going back and forth. And the other problem too is some of the markets have tanked on that stuff. You can't get anything back in return. So you almost feel like it's just worth keeping at that point. Like you use it as a freaking bookend.
Coaster collection.
Yeah, wait for the whole season drops. Watch it that way. Yeah, man, I understand. All right, well, guys,
I just bought on Vudu the entirety of Highlander, the TV series for like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Adrian Paul. Yeah,
that's good. That's good stuff. It is good stuff too. It is good stuff. So, all right, with that, we'll let Dana Carvey say some nice things about me, and then we'll head on out of here till next week. We will not have a show. Pops will go on some vacation. Oh, we should do that. Let's do the Valentine card. I got a birthday card from a friend, old radio station bud. Sent me a thing. I won't let me rip it. So you guys have any ideas how to rip something out of an email like this? I don't know how to do it, so I cheated and I did.
Oh, hey Pops, how you doing? Al here. Listen, I know you're super busy. You got a lot going on. I really hate to bother you, but well, there's something I've been meaning to tell you, and I'm afraid it just can't wait any longer. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pops. Happy birthday to you. Hey, it's your birthday. Gotta be your birthday. You know what I was told? You're 50-something years old. It's your birthday. Oh, yeah. Pops' birthday. Hey. Pops' birthday. Yeah. Woo.
That was insane. They did. I guess so. Evidently, American Greeting Card. You could do these things called a smash up or something, and these celebrities have done these things that you can select certain names and ages. They do these different videos. Dude made it for me, and I was like, "That's flipping great." And I'm happy they did 50 something, so I don't have to worry about it like expiring. Like it's not like it's a one and done thing. I can keep it for like it's like a decade of stuff. I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool, man." So, and I did see Weird Al in concert, and it was flipping great. I don't care what anybody says. Dude knows how to put on a show. He jumped in and out of costumes. They showed clips from UHF, which is, I don't know if you guys are a big fan like I am. I love UHF. And he closed with that fat costume, man. He came out in that freaking fat costume and closed. Dude was beast. And this was like an itty bitty club. If anybody are here in Tampa, Florida, you guys know what's called the Rocket Club. It's this little tiny joint. I mean, there might be 150 people packed in there, and it was not packed. super cool place, super cool experience. So yeah, dude hit the home run when he sent me that. It's fun. So yeah, so no show next week. Week after, we're going back and forth. We're going to talk off air, hopefully quickly, and try to decide what's coming your way. So keep your eye out for that. Listen, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I appreciate all the help and support. And thanks for everything. Let Eric July take us out. You guys have a good one.
Rap Circle is finally here. I know everybody been waiting for it, right?